Yo! So, in my last post, I asked you all to ask me any questions you have about me, along with the request of what you'd like to see me draw. Today, we'll be doing that. Big up to the realist 7989 for the question and request, and without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. The realist 7989 asked, when did you start your drawing journey and what caused you to do animation? Better yet, start a YouTube channel. And in another comment, he said, this is amazing. Thank you. I don't know what exactly is amazing, but thank you. Thank you very much. And then he proceeded to say, I would love to see you draw a robot in a boxing match with a human. Man versus robot. All right. Let's do it. When did you start your drawing journey? Well, I don't really remember a time when I wasn't drawing, to be honest with you. I remember being able to draw like as far back as I can remember. But if I had to put an age on it, I'd have to say probably 6 years old. Yeah. I think I started drawing somewhere around 6 years of age. Like I've been drawing longer than some people have been alive, which is a wild thing to say. But yeah, I've been drawing for a very, very long time. And the reason I started drawing was primarily because of like a toy issue. Like genuinely speaking, I grew up influenced by a lot of, early 2000s to late 2000s animation, like cartoons, specifically Western animation. Shows like Symbionic Titan, Generator Rex, Ben 10, all of them, except for the latest one, ew. Like cartoons like that, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Codename Kids Next Door, like classic stuff, Cow and Chicken, My Gym Partner is a Monkey, so on and so forth. I could go on for a while with this stuff, but I grew up on that, and growing up I really wanted like toys, because they always make merchandise for that kind of stuff, so I really wanted toys for it. I really wanted action figures. I really wanted, those like animation influenced, like cartoon influenced toys. And because I grew up in like lower middle class, I didn't really get what I wanted when I wanted it, you know what I mean? But that was fine. That was totally fine, because that's, I think, when like my innovative drawing like was born, and I started like drawing the cartoons I was like really interested in on paper, and then I would cut them out. Like, so I'd draw a character, like a silhouette in like a T or an A pose, and then I would color it and everything, and then I would cut it out to the best of my 6 to 7 year old ability, and then I'll proceed to play with it like an action figure. And I did that for a time, bro, for like a really long time. I did that, and my mom didn't like it. My mom was fed up with all that, I'll be honest, because I would leave like pieces of paper everywhere. But I did that for quite some time, and I got to a point where I was too good, and it felt like a waste to cut out the drawing that I just did. And I didn't even know I had gotten good. Like my sister had to tell me, oh, that's really nice, Nana. And I was like, oh, damn, for real? I thought, thank you very much. And then she asked me, why do you cut out your drawings, bro? Like, this is nice. I'm like, I don't really have an answer for you, bro, because I'm always watching cartoons anyway. I don't really play with toys like that no more. I'm usually outside playing with my friends. Yes, I had friends. I wasn't like a loser who had no friends, who was like discriminated against. Oh, he does art, I grew up as the art kid, the kid who drew. That was kind of my thing. But I had a friend group. I played outside. I grew up in a time where playing outside was a thing, and when I wasn't doing that, I was watching cartoons, so I didn't really play with toys anymore. So there was never really a need for me to cut out all my drawings, and that's when I really just started focusing on like making pretty things and showing them off, because like I liked seeing people's reaction. Like, oh, check out this drawing that I did, and my sister would gas me up, and my mom would gas me up, and my friends, ooh, don't even get me started. The men them would gas me up, bro. So it was great. That's really where the whole drawing thing started. What caused me to do animation? The animation thing started a bit later on in my life. I think I'd say around like high school, late high school, like 11th grade. I had to decide what I wanted to do with the rest of my life so that I could become a contributing member of society. And I had to figure out where I could incorporate my drawing skills, because this was what I had to offer the world. You know, I wasn't really great at academics. I wasn't the most athletic dude around. I wasn't known for my looks, so I couldn't become a model. I could now, but yeah, you know, we don't talk about that. So I had to figure out a way to incorporate like my strengths, you know, and my strengths at the time were, okay, I can sing, I can dance, and I can draw. I do hip hop dance, which is not famous or commended in my country, in my hometown, in my city. And singing, I'll always be outshined by some woman who can hit high notes. So drawing it is. And then my sister came to the rescue, because at that point I had settled on architecture. I was like, you know what, architecture is something that requires me to draw every single day. I'm really passionate about it, and I don't see myself not liking drawing at any point in my life. And so I thought, you know what, I gotta make money and I gotta do a drawing, and architecture is the only thing that has been accepted by society as a respectable career where someone sits down and draws, right? So I thought, let me just do architecture. But unfortunately, my marks were not marking, bro. They were not marking. I was not the most academically inclined individual, you could say. You know, I wouldn't say I was like dumb. I wouldn't say I was slow. I wouldn't say I had like learning disabilities or anything like that. I just wasn't focused, I guess. You know, academic achievement wasn't a top priority for me. You know, my parents would advise me, and my mom would be like, focus on school. School will get you far. I was like, nah, bro. Nah, bro, I'm not down for all that. I'll be honest. And I didn't say it to her face, of course, because I would, you know. But, you know, I thought it real hard. I was always respectful to my mom. I was like, I'll try my best, my mom. Trying to calm her down, assuring her that I'm doing my homework, which I did. I'm listening in class, which I did. I'm studying for examinations, which I also did. But I didn't have a goal. I wasn't really aiming for anything. I felt like academically, I was done. I was clocked out. This wasn't for me, you know, and I wasn't like trying to quit school. I was trying not to fail, but I wasn't trying to excel, I guess you could say, you know. So that came back to bite me later, because apparently you need to have an academically polished, you know, record to be accepted into any university or college that does, you know, architecture. So I couldn't get into any university and do an architecture course because my marks weren't high enough. And in comes my sister. She's like, yo, I'm telling you, there's this thing, it's called animation. There's this college, go there. We can go there for an open day. You can check it out, see if that's the kind of thing you're into, and then you can do it. And in that moment, I was like, yo, animation is a thing we can do in our country for real? Oh, shout out. I can actually do this for a living. I love this. I've been loving this. There's never been a point in my life, as far as I can remember, where I wasn't obsessed with animation. And keep in mind, I was like 17, 18 years old at this point. I'm like, I gotta get into some kind of college. My mom will not take no for an answer. And my sister just plugged me with something that I could do that I'm passionate about. So of course I did it. And I ended up in animation school. I ended up in college studying digital animation. I'm talking 2D animation, 3D animation, CG, visual effects, that kind of stuff, you know? Initially I went there for 2D animation, but found out that it was a digital animation course, so I couldn't do just that, and I had to do everything else. I had to do a 3D course as well, and, you know, editing was in there, and, you know, a bunch of other stuff was in there. So yeah, I got a lot more out of it than I went in for, which is great. And that's really how I got into animation. As for how I started the YouTube channel, well, that happened later on in college, like towards my last year of college. I had always thought about doing animation, like YouTube animation, because back in high school I was obsessed with YouTube animators. That's when I discovered it. I think 10th grade, that's when I discovered the first YouTube animator. And to this day, my favorite, well, not my favorite, my second favorite YouTube animator, Domix, right? I found Domix. I'm like, yo, Domix is cool. And then from then on, I found a bunch of other guys. I found YouTube. I found Yo-Yo808. I found Young Don the Sauce God. I found Swoozy. I found Jaden Animation. I found, the Odd Ones Out. I found a bunch of these YouTube animators. I'm like, yo, these guys are actually doing it. And I found out that they're making money from it. And I'm like, yo, I gotta learn more about this. And then I went to animation school. And towards the end of my college career, I was like, yeah, I gotta start it. Something in me was like, yo, do it, man. Just do it. You gotta do something. There's no guarantee you'll get a job in the animation industry after you graduate. There's no guarantees for anything. And you know how your mom is. So if worst comes to worst and you have to move back home and sit there while looking for a job, it would be nice if you had something to do and dedicate your time and your now found and improved skill set to. And so I decided to start my YouTube channel and do YouTube animation because that's what I was good at. I had to learn how to speak into a mic and edit sound and chop it up and try to make it sound nice for the first time. I had to use my phone mic because I didn't have an actual mic. I had to get under a blanket because I didn't have any soundproofing. I had to do all these things, and I found a really deep passion for it. And to this day, there's nothing I enjoy more than making YouTube videos. So yeah, that's where my drawing journey started. That's where my animation started, and that's where my YouTube journey started. And the rest is history. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story and the art. If you're down to participate in one of my videos, leave a question you have for me along with a request for a drawing down in the comments, and I'll answer and draw it in the next filler episode. Till then, subscribe, road to 100 million, and I will see you when I see you.